Hi, and welcome to today's OSP tip on all things Microsoft Teams devices. So today, what I want to talk about is user data reset. And what is it? So we have my Blueberry Room Teams panel signed in here. You can see it's all healthy. It's all good. It's on the latest version of software. It's all good. I can then come into Intune, look at devices, Android. I can start Blueberry, and I can see all the devices here. Last connected today. Yep. 3750 is the last digit, the serial number. So that is all good. I can then come into my Neat Pulse, come in here, and I can do remote control. So you can see I've got a custom wallpaper that's been pushed from Teams App Center. I've got the room equipment showing. So I've set my profiles with the Teams config profile settings. Now, I can have a different number of ways to try and fix a problem I might be seeing. So I can sign out and sign back in. So I can come into here, into Teams, and choose device or Teams sign out. Very simple. That just signs out, signs back in. It may retain some settings. I could then do a factory reset. Again, with Pulse, I've got the ability to do this remotely because I've got full control of the UI. So I can come in here and go to reset, put in my secure password. That's been set from TAC, which is then pushed down to the device. So I can do that full factory reset, which will wipe everything. So if I have pushed a newer app from Teams App Center, it will go back to the factory default, whatever's in the Neat Stable channel, for example. So that could be one app older. However, I have this new option, user data reset. Remove all user and application data. So what does this entail? So this is like in your browser where you're clearing the cookies, clearing the cache, clearing everything out, which means it's not a full factory reset. So you are preserving some settings like your maybe language, date and time, etc. And let's perform this user data reset now. And the great thing is I still have connection to Neat Pulse. So my networking credentials are there. However, if you have pushed some new Wi-Fi credentials through Intune, for example, which is now supported, they will be wiped. So it's like a soft factory reset. So you're not fully resetting the device. You are just clearing out the Teams application settings. It's going to maintain that new app you may have pushed from TAC. So it's not going to roll back a version. So that's where you may want to do a factory reset if the app version isn't. This is like let's not get the hammer out. Let's just get the screwdriver out and give it a small tweak. So you can do this. Now, again, this will connect to Intune and get a code so you can log back in. So if we go back to our devices now and refresh the details, we can see it's signed out. So we could do the remote sign in from here and get the code. But what I want to do from Pulse is actually sign in on the device because I want to show you a new feature that is with OSP device management. So I'm going to sign back in with a user, put in my password. Now, I could use device code flow, so microsoft.com/device login, and use that to remotely log in. And it wouldn't have this prompt that I'm going to show you, where the device registers when you sign in. Now, by doing it from the browser, that is great because it does that step for you. So what that means is, in Intune, as you can see, I have a number of devices here and different registrations. So yes, I've got the bar, I've got the pad, and the controller. So I would essentially have 3 devices in this room. I do also have some stale entries, and I can, again, bulk remove those as an option, depending on your device limit that's been set. So here we have the request for register. Now, if you were doing this on a front of room bar without touch, you would then have to connect a mouse or keyboard to hit this register button. So that's where it's advised to use device code flow and use the browser to log you in. Now, what a user data reset doesn't do is clean up these entries in Intune. It will now create another entry in Intune for this device. So just be cautious of that. With user data reset, you will end up with some stale entries. You will have your device cleanup rules, which is default minimum. The minimum you can have there is 30 days. Then it will automatically clear them up. But if we jump back now to our devices, we should see a new entry coming in here shortly. So the device is signing back in and getting back online. Or another thing, you may want to remove the configuration profile. So technically it doesn't remove it, but it wipes a lot of the settings. But it does retain the passcode. So if you have set the passcodes from TAC, that remains on the device. But it will lose your custom wallpaper and, if you've got room equipment enabled, etc. on there, all that is removed. You would then have to re-push the profile from TAC back on there. So there we have the room now signed back in. As you can see, I don't have my custom wallpaper. I don't have the room icons. So all those have been removed with the user data reset. I jump back to Intune. And we'll see eventually a new entry will create in here. So they're actually based on a GUID. And it will create that new one on here. And then if you jump back to TAC, we refresh TAC, and it shows you that you're signed back in. So that is all good. So now what we can do is then push that config again back to the device and push your theme back and any settings. So that will take about 15 minutes back to the device. And then you have your device reset. So think of it as one step away from doing the factory reset, but still maintaining control on there. So it's a great tool to use to reset any settings that might be causing an issue with that profile or with the teams logging in, etc. So it's better than a side out, I would say, and a good step to do in your troubleshooting tips. So any questions, let me know.